Welcome to the History and Heritage Podcast with me, Liam Blake. Join me as we uncover hidden stories and insights that shaped our world. From mysteries to legacies, join us on this journey through time. Welcome to the History and Heritage Podcast. In today's episode, we're exploring one of the most intriguing stories of the 19th century, the tale of Princess Caraboo. This extraordinary story of reinvention and something more not only reflects the societal dynamics of the time, but also continues to fascinate us with its blend of imagination, performance, and social commentary. As we journey through this narrative, we'll explore how a mysterious stranger became the talk of English high society and how her tale reflects the attitudes of early 19th century British society towards class, gender, and foreign cultures. But before we begin, a word to our listeners. This story will challenge your perceptions. It will make you question the nature of truth and identity, and perhaps by its end, you will find yourself wondering, was it all worth it? The year is 1817, and England is a nation in transition. Just 2 years earlier, in 1815, the Napoleonic Wars had finally come to an end with the Battle of Waterloo. The country is still adjusting to peacetime, with thousands of soldiers returning home to a changed landscape. The Industrial Revolution is in full swing, transforming the face of Britain. Cities are expanding rapidly as people flock from rural areas in search of work in the new factories. The skyline of towns like Manchester and Birmingham is increasingly dominated by towering chimneys belching smoke into the air. This rapid industrialization is creating new opportunities, but also new social tensions. The gap between wealthy industrialists and the working poor is widening, creating a volatile social atmosphere. In rural areas, life remains more traditional, but change is coming. The Enclosure Acts are reshaping the countryside, fencing off what was once common land and forcing many small farmers off their ancestral plots. For women, especially those of lower classes, life offers painfully few opportunities, most confined to roles as domestic servants, factory workers, or farmers' wives. The idea of a woman rising above her station is almost unthinkable in this society. Meanwhile, Britain's colonial ambitions are at their height. The East India Company controls vast swathes of the Indian subcontinent. Explorers push ever deeper into the interior of Africa and other unknown lands. Each ship that returns to Bristol or London brings tales of strange customs, fabulous wealth, and noble savages from far-off lands. This colonial expansion fuels a fascination with the exotic among the British public. Newspapers and journals are filled with tales of adventure in distant lands. In drawing rooms and gentlemen's clubs across the country, conversation inevitably turns to the latest reports from the far-off corners of the empire. It was in this atmosphere that Princess Caraboo appeared in the English village of Almondsbury in April 1817, and the villagers were intrigued and alarmed by her sudden appearance. On the evening of Thursday, April 3rd, 1817, the village, located about 8 miles north of the bustling city of Bristol, witnesses an extraordinary arrival. A woman, dressed in a manner unlike anything the villagers have ever seen, appears seemingly out of nowhere. Her attire is a striking combination of the familiar and the exotic. She wears a black turban wrapped around her head, a stark contrast to her pale skin, and a vibrant red and black shawl draped over her shoulders. The woman's possessions are few. She carries only a small cake of soap and a handful of copper coins. These meagre belongings only add to the air of mystery surrounding her. As she makes her way through the village, knocking on doors and attempting to communicate, it becomes clear that she speaks no English. Instead, she utters words in an incomprehensible language that no one in Almondsbury can understand. Some villagers speculate she might be a foreign spy due to the recent Napoleonic Wars, with many fearing the implications of harbouring an enemy agent so soon after the conflict. As word spreads through the village, more and more people gather to catch a glimpse of the mysterious stranger. Children peek out from behind their mothers' skirts, both frightened and fascinated by this exotic figure. The woman's gestures are animated and dramatic, suggesting distress or urgency, but without a common language, no one can decipher her meaning. She points at objects, makes sweeping motions with her arms, and occasionally bursts into what seems like song or prayer in her unknown tongue. Faced with this bewildering situation, the villagers decide to take her to the home of the local magistrate, Samuel Worrell. Surely, they think, a man of his standing will know what to do with this enigmatic visitor. Samuel Worrell and his wife Elizabeth live at Knoll Park, a grand estate befitting his position as local magistrate. When the strange woman is brought to their door, the Worrells are immediately intrigued. Elizabeth Worrell was particularly intrigued by her, with her romantic sensibilities piqued by the exotic stranger, and seeing her almost as a character from one of her beloved novels. The stranger, when asked her name, repeatedly utters what sounds like Caraboo. This becomes the name by which she is known, adding another layer of mystery to her already mysterious persona. Despite the language barrier, Mrs. Worrell attempts to communicate with Caraboo. She brings out books with illustrations of foreign lands and peoples, hoping to find some common ground. In one particularly memorable moment, Caraboo points excitedly at an illustration of a pineapple, exclaiming what sounds like ananas. This word, similar to the term for pineapple in several languages, seems to confirm that she is indeed foreign. The Worrells, moved by what they perceive as Caraboo's distress and intrigued by her exotic nature, decide to take her in temporarily. They provide her with comfortable lodgings at Knoll Park, while they attempt to unravel the mystery of her identity. This decision proves to be the beginning of an extraordinary saga that will captivate the imagination of not just Almondsbury, but soon the whole of England. From the moment Caraboo takes up residence at Knoll Park, her behaviour fascinates and puzzles her hosts and their social circle, leading them to believe in her exotic origins. She steadfastly refuses to eat meat of any kind, subsisting instead on a vegetarian diet of vegetables and rice. Remember, this is 1817, and this vegetarianism is highly unusual for the time and is seen as further evidence of her exotic origins. Equally intriguing is her manner of drinking tea. Caraboo only drinks tea with her left hand, while covering her right eye. This is performed with such solemnity that observers can't help but see it as some sort of cultural or religious observance. She ignores the comfortable bed provided for her, preferring instead to sleep on the floor with only a blanket. This reminds some of the tales they have heard of holy men from the East. Perhaps most striking are Caraboo's religious practices. Each evening she climbs the tallest tree on the estate, perching precariously on the highest branches. From this lofty position she engages in what appears to be fervent prayer, calling out to a deity she names Alatala. These often last for hours, with Caraboo seemingly oblivious to the dangers of her position or the growing crowd of onlookers. She also displays a number of unexpected skills, such as archery. She shows a remarkable talent, handling a bow with a proficiency that suggests years of practice. This, combined with her exotic appearance, evokes images of Amazonian warrior queens in the minds of many observers. On several occasions, she is seen diving into the lake on the Worrell estate, swimming with a grace and confidence that is unusual for women of the time. All of these behaviours seem to fit with the image of a foreign princess. Each peculiarity is seen as further evidence of her exotic origins, fueling speculation about the distant land from which she might have come. The mystery of Caraboo's identity might remain unsolved were it not for a fortuitous encounter with a Portuguese sailor named Manuel Ionesso, who claimed to understand her language. His arrival seems like a godsend to the Worrells and others who have been trying to unravel the mystery of Caraboo's origins. According to his translation, Caraboo reveals herself to be Princess Caraboo from Javasu, an island in the Indian Ocean. This revelation sends waves of excitement through Almondsbury and beyond. Ionesso explains that pirates had kidnapped Caraboo from her homeland, but that she bravely escaped by jumping overboard in the Bristol Channel. She had swum ashore near Almondsbury, where fate had brought her into the care of the Worrells. This dramatic story captivates all who hear it. It seems to explain everything: her strange attire, her inability to speak English, her unusual customs, and even her proficiency in swimming. Ionesso described Javasu as a paradise-like island with advanced technology, including flying machines and a tree-climbing prayer as a religious practice. He also explains some of Caraboo's peculiar behaviours. Her vegetarianism, for instance, is said to be a common practice in Havasu. His story is accepted by the locals with little question. In an age where much of the world remains unexplored to the European eyes, the existence of an unknown island with exotic customs seems entirely plausible. With her royal identity seemingly confirmed, Caraboo was treated like royalty at Noel Park after Inessa's arrival, marking a significant shift in her status and treatment. The Warrels spare no expense in providing for her. Caraboo was given fine clothes and the best accommodation, its windows offering commanding views of the estate grounds. Fine gowns are commissioned for her, a blend of English high fashion and what the local dressmaker imagines to be the style of Havasu. Her daily routine becomes a subject of intense interest, not just for the Warrels, but for a growing number of fascinating visitors. Each morning, regardless of the weather, she bathes in the lake, a practice that seems both refreshing and scandalous to English sensibilities. Caraboo's skill with a bow and arrow becomes a regular source of entertainment. She often demonstrates her prowess for guests, hitting targets with an accuracy that seems almost supernatural to many observers. Using swords that she claims are tipped with the mysterious vegetable poison, she engages in dramatic mock duels that thrill spectators. Some even begin to imitate her prayer ritual, climbing trees in their own gardens in a misguided attempt to get closer to Alatala. Noel Park begins to become a hive of social activity. The cream of local society clamours for invitations, all eager to meet this mysterious royal visitor. Despite her inability to speak English, Caraboo proves to be an adept communicator. Through a combination of gestures, drawings, and the occasional word in her native tongue, she manages to charm almost everyone she meets. The Warrels spare no expense in ensuring Caraboo's comfort and in showcasing her to the local circle. Their home becomes a kind of unofficial court, with Caraboo at its centre. News of Princess Caraboo's arrival in Almondsbury spreads rapidly through the newspapers, and she quickly becomes a national sensation. Newspapers across England begin to publish articles about the mysterious princess. These range from straightforward accounts of her arrival and supposed background to wild speculations about her homeland and the reasons for her presence in England. In an era when the British Empire is expanding rapidly, tales of foreign lands and cultures are immensely popular. Caraboo seems to embody this fascination in human form. Scholars, linguists, and artists visit Noel Park, eager to study her and document her story. Portraits are created of her, often heavily romanticised, and these begin to circulate, further spreading her fame. These images typically portray her in a blend of English and imagined Havasu attire, creating an iconic image that is instantly recognisable across the country. Souvenirs were also sold in her name, with everything from Caraboo dolls to Havasu tea sets becoming popular in shops across England. One linguist causes a sensation when he declares that Caraboo's language was authentic, claiming to find similarities between her speech and entries in Edmund Fry's Pantographia, a comprehensive study of world languages published in 1799. This seemingly academic validation lends further credibility to Caraboo's story. There is talk of arranging for her to be presented at the royal court in London, but this never materialises. Despite the widespread fascination, some begin to express skepticism regarding her story, noticing inconsistencies in her physical condition and finding irregularities in her language. These voices are initially drowned out by the chorus of believers, eager to embrace the romantic and exotic tales of Princess Caraboo. The turning point comes when the Bristol Journal publishes an article about her with a detailed description and portrait, hoping to gather more information about the mysterious princess. In June 1817, a landlady, Mrs. Neal, recognises Princess Caraboo as Mary Baker. She recognises her from a newspaper description, and this leads to the confession. Caraboo reveals that she is actually Mary Wilcox Baker, a cobbler's daughter from Wetheridge, Devon, born around 1791 or 92. Her elaborate persona was a survival tactic during her itinerant years as a servant and homeless woman, using fake rituals to gain sympathy. Mrs. Worrell, who still, even though she was duped by her, still appreciates and respects her, arranges for Mary's departure to Philadelphia on the 20th of June 1817. Rumours claim her ship diverted to St. Helena, but this is likely a fabrication. In America, she stages a short-lived Princess Caraboo show at Philadelphia's Washington Hall, but by 1818 it flops because it doesn't have any aristocratic patronage. She remains in America for 7 years, though her exact activities are unclear. After returning to England in 1824, she attempts a London exhibition in New Bond Street, charging £1 per visitor. But, like in America, public interest has evaporated. By September 1828, she abandons the act entirely, marrying a man called Richard Baker, who was not related to her beforehand, in Bedminster, and giving birth to a daughter, Mary Ann, around 1829. From the 1830s onward, Mary runs a leech importing business for a Bristol infirmary, a mundane yet stable trade contrasting sharply with her royal pretense. Mary Baker dies in Bristol on the 24th of December 1864, not 4th of January 1865 as once reported. Buried anonymously in Hebron Road Cemetery, the Princess Caraboo hoax endures as a cultural curiosity, inspiring books and films about her audacious deception. Her story has inspired numerous adaptations, including a 1994 film starring Phoebe Cates, cementing her place in the annals of the impostors. It highlights societal fascination with exoticism and the power of storytelling during the early 19th century. Despite her hoax being exposed, her legend continues to captivate audiences with its blend of adventure, deception, and survival. Her story explores themes of identity, class, and the fluidity of social roles during the Victorian era. Caraboo's deception highlights the power of storytelling and the human capacity for invention, reminding us that sometimes the most captivating tales are those that blur the line between truth and fiction, and it underscores the importance of critical thinking and the need to question even the most compelling narratives, lest we fall prey to our own biases and desires. Join us next time on the History and Heritage podcast as we delve into another captivating story from the past. Until next time, keep exploring.